welcome to Salt and Stride. I'm Chef Ryan, and as I stated before, here we have for you on this show, what you're going to love is a Brazilian steak, Picanha Alfredo. So welcome to the show, Salt and Stride. What we have for you today is a steak Fettuccine Alfredo, better known as my Rio de Janeiro. I call this the Rio de Janeiro steak Alfredo fettuccine with the Brazilian steak picanha. Beautiful steak. Let's get started for you. Okay, we're going to go down with a little bit of oil down in the pan. We already salted our steak. So once the pan, we want to get around 200, 300 degrees, 225, 300 degrees. Ideally, this steak here has the fat. We want to render this fat and sear this steak into this pan. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to baste the steak in its own goodness and juices from that fat that you see right there. You don't want to cut this off. This is what you want right here. You want to render that and keep it. So let's get started. Let's move on. Okay, I have in my time cooked for 23 years in different restaurants, from Texas to Florida, now here in Hawaii, where I reside. And I have cooked thousands of Fettuccine Alfredos, hundreds and thousands of it, countless, and they all come out the same. They all come out beautiful. People love the Fettuccine Alfredo that I make. And I've cooked in many different restaurants. So here now, we're going to go into the steak. We're going to take this steak and go right into the pan. And that's what you want. You want that sizzle. You want that sear. And you're going to do this at about, roughly about 3 minutes on each side. This is going to create a beautiful crust on each side. Once you lay the steak out into the saute pan, you don't want to move it. You don't want to move it at all. So ideally, as I mentioned before, Brazilian picanha or cap steak is salted and it's grilled over an open fire. I got the idea because I've been to Texas de Brazil. I've been cooking in different restaurants, Fettuccine Alfredo, and what I've noticed is people order ordinary steak or regular steak, which is fine, but they order a regular steak to go with their Fettuccine Alfredo that's placed on there. So this is Brazilian inspired. I love Brazilian food. I have Brazilian friends in Texas. I have Brazilian friends in Florida. So this is where I get the inspiration from, because I am a fan of Brazilian food, and I want to share this with you. You'll enjoy this with your family, your loved one, your friends. Okay, as we can see, the steak is still searing. Another 2 minutes on each side. It's kind of going there. Just give it a nice turn. And again, we want to turn this on this side because we're going to render this fat. So we should be looking for a mid-rare temp. And the temperature you pretty much ideally you want internally at least 130 degrees. So we're going to temp this at 130 degrees. The steak will come out and rest. And once the steak rests for 10 minutes, the juices redistribute throughout the steak. So the steak settles. If you cut the steak after it's done, immediately after it's done, you're going to lose all of the flavor, all of the juices. The steak is going to get very, very dry. And that's something that you don't want to do. As again, I mentioned before, you want to salt this the night before after you get this from your butcher. Coarse sea salt, to be exact. And once this is salted, the salt is going to penetrate inside of the meat. That's the special. Once the salt goes inside, it's going to flavor the steak and it's going to pull out the moisture, out the juices. So from that time, you're ready to cook the steak. The day after, you want to pat it dry. You literally want to pat it dry. There's no moisture on the outside of this. Flavors inside from the salt. All of the moisture has been expelled. Okay, so now we're going to go on the side. And you can see that crust right there. This is the crust I'm talking about. See that crust? That's the crust. So now we're going to turn it on its side. And you want to render the fat right now. You want to render that fat. And this fat is really good. Normally you would cut the fat off of a steak or trim it at least. But I find it very rewarding to have this steak with the fat on. And this steak is almost ready. See that? See the fat that's rendered out? Okay, we're going to take this temperature, guys. And what we're looking for is 130 degrees internal temperature. We're at about 98, 99 right now. And you want to go into the fattest part of the meat. We're at 100. You don't want to go in too far. You want to go in just a little bit. Okay? And let this cook more. As this is going, you're basting this literally with its own juices, its own fat. That's what you're looking for. That's what we mentioned before. Look at the color on this steak. Nice and seared and crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside. Let's go on the side. Let's render a little bit more of that fat. Let's turn it on this side. We're going to take the temperature of this, okay? Right at 108, 106. Okay, you want to let this go for 3 minutes on each side. The steak is still working. It smells great. Beautiful crust and caramelization on the outside, so you know the juices are seared inside. We're going to flip this. Look at the color on that. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so you're right around internal temperature is 130. We're going to pull this. We're going to let the steak rest for 10 minutes. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. And after the steak is rested, we're going to slice it, show you what's inside. Then we're going to start our Fettuccine Alfredo. See you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. Our steak has rested. And what I'm going to show you, as I mentioned before, we're going to go ahead and slice this open. So we want beautiful, nice cuts of this. And you want to cut in a hibachi style. So pretty much this is the fat that's going to come off. Look at the color. As you can see, look at the crust, the texture. That's what we're looking for, guys, right here. Okay, now let's take this steak that has rested for 10 minutes. All of the juices have evenly distributed out. We're going to cut and slice that fat off. This is the time you want to slice that fat right off. And look at that. Look at even the inside of that. You see that? This is what holds your flavor. This is what flavors your steak. The picanha. Beautiful. Now, let's finish slicing. We're going to go against the grain. We're going to come back this way. And this is what you want. Okay. We're going to slice this up. The steak has rested. And you just want nice cuts of this. Nice slices, because this is what's going to go, as you're going to see, around our Fettuccine Alfredo. And this is our Rio de Janeiro Fettuccine Alfredo. So you just want nice cuts, nice slices, going against the grain. And you can turn the steak if you like. Let's continue slicing. Look at that. This is perfect. Juicy, flavorful in the inside. I'm going to show you this right now. Look at that. You tell me that's not a perfectly seared steak. Crust on the outside, juicy on the inside. There's no need for pepper or any other seasonings. You don't want that. This is pure goodness right here. Perfection at its finest. Let's finish slicing this steak. After we get it sliced up, we're going to start our fettuccine Alfredo. Okay. Let's slice this. Go ahead and cut. There's no particular way that has fat, so we're just going to get that out of there. Okay. And we're going to come this way with it. Slice just like butter, super tender. This is very, very tender. And you can just take these little pieces here, just move them off to the side, along with this guy here. So what we're looking for are these slices right here. I'm just going to move this to the center of the camera to where you guys can see this. This is what we were talking about. Basting the steak in its own fat. Trim that fat right at the very, very end. You need that fat to hold the flavor and the goodness and basting, right? All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and start our fettuccine Alfredo. Okay, welcome back. Our steak is done. Now we're gonna go ahead and start our fettuccine Alfredo, and we're gonna finish this dish. This is truly the best experience that I have. This is probably one of my staples, so it's when I make this. Okay, let's get started. Okay, now we're gonna go in with 1 cup of cream. Okay. 1 cup of cream, 4 tablespoons of butter, there's the butter, and make sure we get all of the cream out of that. We are going to go in with some minced garlic, just a little bit. Okay. Now, we got our minced garlic, we got our heavy cream in. You can always add heavy cream. You can always add salt, but the important aspect to this, guys, do not, under any circumstances, try to avoid at all costs adding a lot of salt to your pasta. Now this pasta I have here is a fettuccine pasta. It's a fettuccine noodle, but this is par-cooked. I pre-cooked this, and I got some nice olive oil going through there to keep everything nice and slippery. But what I like to do with all of my pastas, I go with salt right after it's cooked. What happens is when you boil it and it's boiling and you pull it out of the seasoned pasta water, generally what you'll do is salt the pasta water. But what happens when you pull that pasta out of the water, all of the flavor and the salt and everything goes with that down the drain in your sink. So I pretty much like to do with all of my pastas is boil the pasta first, and then I like to season and salt the pasta right after the water has come completely off of it. As you can see, I have like a small pinch of salt, and I just go right over it, and I turn it with my hand. That's literally what I do. And I taste it. You can taste this. If it's not to your liking, the saltiness of this, like you can taste it, salt it more. It needs more salt. So I'll just go in with more salt. Work this because the olive oil is already in this. Nothing is sticking, nothing is gliding. Now, as you can see, it's better to do that because you're going to get salt from the cheese. I have a nice Parmigiano Romano blend right here. And this cheese is aged over 10 months. So what happens is when you're shopping for your cheese's age will tell you the flavor and boldness and saltiness of the cheese. That's going to determine your Alfredo. That's the secret. This is a Parmigiano Romano mix. I love to use this with every fettuccine Alfredo that I make. And Keep in mind to control the salt, because you're going to get a lot of the salt from this very cheese right here. Okay, let's continue. So now we got our cream on. Butter is incorporated. Now we're going to add, the garlic is inside also. We're going to go in with our Parmesan Romano cheese. And as you can see, I'm stirring at the same time. Adding and stirring. And this goes really quick, this Fettuccine Alfredo. This is heavy whipping cream, 1 cup. And I'll make sure to have all of the ingredients listed on the channel. We're just adding. And you just want a soft simmer on this. You don't need anything boiling. You don't want to scald the cream. You don't want to scald or burn the cheese. As I went in earlier with the heavy cream, that was good. The minute that cream hit the pan, the saucepan, the water evaporated from the heavy cream. Nothing is sticking. Nothing is burnt. This is completely fine. I've been doing this for a very, very, very long time. Now, what you can also do, you can add pepper. Pepper works. You go in with just a little bit of pepper. And we're just going to go with a little bit of pinch, because a little bit goes a long way. Like a little pinch of pepper. Okay, this is working out just fine. Okay, now we're going to go in with the fettuccine noodles. This already has the salt, and you just want to add a little bit at a time. You can always taste your salt. You can always taste it. Taste as you go. Always add salt, but what you want to do is make sure you go in stages. Each layer is flavored. If there's too much salt in this, you pretty much got to start over. That's why it's important that you add salt, because it's more difficult and more challenging to take the salt out. Okay, and you don't need this boiling very heavily. We're going to get some close-ups here so you can see exactly what this looks like. Okay, everything is incorporating. It's getting nice and creamy. The butter, the garlic, the cream is working very well. That little pinch of garlic just adds that little extra specialness to this Alfredo. It's going to give it depth of flavor. Just that little bit of pepper. Okay, and we're almost done here. So we want to let this work so every noodle is coated. And you see as I added a little bit of pasta at a time. And you want to stay away from adding a lot of the pasta all at one time. What happens is this pasta gets thirsty. And as it gets thirsty, it's going to soak up the sauce. This is coming out great. I wish you can smell it in here. It smells amazing. Okay. Everything is working out very well. The cheese is just a little rumble, a little bit of bubbling. That's what you want, so everything and all of the flavors can concentrate. Now, as I stated before, you can taste this. So you want to grab a spoon. Because even though you added salt, you still need to taste it. Just right there. Perfect. No other salt needed. This is the importance, and I reiterate, of how it is very important to not add a lot of salt, because we have salt from the picanha steak. We salted the picanha steak the day before. That already is going to add salt to your fettuccine Alfredo. The salt comes from the cheese. The cheese has been aged over 10 months. If you go 12 months, you go 24 months, you go 36 months, the higher you go up with the cheese age, the more salty it's going to be, the more flavor you're going to get, which is a better cheese. Of course, more flavor, but you want to be mindful of how much you add to that. Okay, this is done. We're just stirring this up, and we're getting ready to plate this up. Let's take another break. We're going to show you what this creamy Alfredo looks like. It's very simple. It didn't take long at all. We're going to take a break, quick breaks, plate this up. You're going to come back, and I'm already hungry. Okay, we'll see you in a bit. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to just slide it in front of you. And we don't let anything go to waste on this show. I'm going to show you right here what we're going to do. We're going to take that extra Alfredo sauce, and we're going to go just like that. See? You don't even waste it. You want it creamy, 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 and more creamy. This is our Rio de Janeiro Fettuccine Alfredo. Now, let's make our chimichurri. So first, before we make the chimichurri, that's that beautiful picanha Brazilian steak. We're going to go on the outside. And this is thinly sliced, where you can just go just like that, guys. You see how that? Look at that presentation. Just want to tuck it in just like that. Look, I'm telling you, this is a perfect mid-rare that is going to satisfy your palate. And you just go around like this. Just like this. This was super simple, super easy, didn't take long at all. Again, the recipes will be in the link in our description down below. Okay, just kind of cleaning as I go, cleaning up my mess. Okay, guys. Now, the chimichurri, really quick, it's minced garlic. These are sweet peppers, yellow pepper, green bell pepper, and that's our theme, right? Brazil. Green and yellow. That's just color of the country flag there. Just to add a little extra detail to it. So we're going in with that bell pepper, pinch of red chili flake. This is the chimichurri we're making. We're making chimichurri that is going to go on the outside of this. And you have parsley, minced parsley. Okay? And you want this parsley minced very well. This is our extra virgin olive oil. We're going in with that. We're going to whisk this all together and bring it home, guys. I'm telling you, you're really going to love this dish. Pinch of salt. The acidity that we're going to add to this is a red wine vinegar. So the acidity of the red wine vinegar is going to cut the creaminess and denseness of the cheese. And that's going to go in the outer part of the steak. You're going to see. Okay, red wine vinegar. Now, as you go in with the red wine vinegar into the chimichurri base, you want to whisk at the same time. So here we have yellow bell pepper, sweet pepper. You have green, minced garlic, pinch of salt, and you have your red pepper flake inside. Extra virgin olive oil. We're going inside with this red wine vinegar. So going with the red wine vinegar, you want to make sure that you're whisking and moving things around at the same time. See that? And you want to let this sit. And this is parsley in here also, but so you're going to add a little bit more parsley. You want to whisk this around. You don't want too much salt in this chimichurri because the steak has been already salted. You need the acidity and the acid from the red wine vinegar to cut the heaviness of the cheese and the pasta itself. And generally, you know, I like to let this sit at room temperature for about, I don't know, about 15 minutes. Look at 10 minutes, just for everything to marry. Now, the rawness of the peppers, of the different bell peppers, you can see that. That's going to break down because of the acid from the vinegar. It's going to help break that down. So you're going to have a little bit of texture there, but not too much. Okay? Now, let's go in. This is the final product, guys. We're going to go around with this nice chimichurri. And that's going to go around our steak, our Brazilian picanha mid-rare steak. Look at that. See that? Nice presentation. Huh. This is gorgeous. I can't wait for you to try this. I can't wait to sink my teeth in this. And I've made this so many different times. Look at that. There you go. This is the Rio de Janeiro Fettuccine Alfredo. Fettuccine steak Alfredo. Now, let's get my hands clean, and I'm gonna grab me a fork and taste this. I'm just gonna go in. You won't believe the smell of this. Look how creamy and rich that is. Look at the beautiful presentation of the Brazilian colors there. I don't have blue, but I have red and green. Obrigado. Let me taste. Creamy, rich, garlicky. Oh, this is phenomenal. Yeah, this is a steak. This is a steak I was telling you. Woo. Come on. This is going to knock your socks off. I promise you. Try this. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Your time with me is very valuable. Let me wash my hands. Guys, thank you for your time. This is the very first episode of Salt and Stride. I had so many family and friends that encouraged me to start this channel. I brought this to you. I provided this to you. My wife, I like to thank her. She is such a big supporter of me. She stood behind me 100%. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, that steak will melt in your mouth. The nice acidity that complements the steak. The chimichurri. Guys, the chimichurri is red wine vinegar, olive oil, parsley, minced garlic, pinch of sea salt, red pepper flake, red wine vinegar. This is insane. It just makes no sense. I'm gonna take one final bite and get out of here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.